Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun. Today we're analyzing Maseches Orlah Perek Aleph, Mishnah Daled. Mishnah Daled says a halacha, which is really based on Mishnah Gimel. Ilan shenekar v'nishtayr bo shorish potter. An ilan, fruit-bearing tree that got uprooted from the ground, but not totally uprooted. It still has one root, and the root, the Mishnah says, is pretty wide, the wide of a hem of a shirt or pants. So it's basically getting its nourishment from that one root. It's potter in Orlah. If it's thicker, the root, so then it'd be chaya, but it's potter. The reason being similar to the Mishnah in Mishnah Gimel. Mishnah Gimel says that if most of the surrounding dirt, which nourishes the tree, was removed, right, and the tree didn't get moved to a new place and start regrowing from new soil, if it got, like we learned in Mishnah Beis, right, if it grows by itself, as long as it has sufficient dirt for a normal tree to grow well, so then it's chayiv in Orlah. It grows by itself. You don't have to actually plant it. I've got moved to a different place and it got, planted by itself. It started growing by itself with the proper soil, so then it's chayiv. However, if a lot of the soil was removed and it remained growing in its initial place, so therefore it's potter in Orlah. Why is it potter in Orlah? I don't understand. You planted it. Now, it can still grow. It can still grow well. It can still grow that it's producing fruit. It's not dying the tree. So why is it potter in Orlah? So I didn't really explain this, but I think the explanation is like this: is that the reason Orlah, the first 3 years, is you're not allowed to eat it. What's the Isser based on? The Isser, I'm telling you, Darshin and Time Lakra. Listen to my Daf Yomi Shir, I talked about it. This is not Darshin and Time Lakra. This is Sod Lakra. I'm telling you the why in the Torah, why Orlah, the first 3 years is Asr. The first 3 years is Asr is because we're talking about healthy fruit trees that produce delicious fruits. And the first 3 years that the fruit grows is not, even though when it's ripe, it will be ripe. You could eat it at certain points, but it's not really ripe entirely because it doesn't taste as good. The 4th year maybe tastes a little better. The 5th year is when it really tastes good. And Hashem wants you to enjoy good food and good fruit. So when you eat for the first 3 years, it doesn't taste good. It's like a wine that hasn't aged properly. It hasn't aged properly, so it doesn't taste as good. Hashem wants you to wait till it tastes good. Don't ruin it. However, when a lot of the soil in Mishnah Gimel is removed, or all the roots removed except one of them, and it's barely growing, so this tree is never going to produce quality wine, quality fruit. It's never going to produce quality fruit. So Hashem knows this. Hashem knows it's going to be. So therefore, the first 3 years is not so different than year 4 and year 5 and year 6 and year 7. So once the fruit is not going to be high quality fruit anymore, Hashem said, okay, you can eat it already on the first 3 years, because the mitzvah of Orlah is that, it's about appreciating, good fruit, good food. So if there's a big difference, a marked difference between the first 3 years and year 4 and 5 and 6, then Hashem says it's Asr. If there's no marked difference, it's barely growing, there's not a lot of soil to nourish it. It only has one root, even though the root's strong enough to let it grow. It's not going to grow properly. It's not going to produce such delicious pink lady apples. So then you don't have to be Noeg Isser. You don't have to treat it as Asr, because it's not going to be a marked difference between the first 3 years and thereafter. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. See you in the next one.